Your hometown news. News Center 25, Weekend Edition at 10.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for News Center 25 at 10. I'm Abby Rocha. This weekend, thousands of American flags posted in honor of veterans, many who gave the ultimate sacrifice. The event brought hundreds of individuals out to see the iconic symbol. News Center 25's LaShonda McEwen has the story.
Warriors Field of Honor is in its final stages of being completed.
It's hard to explain the feeling of it, especially when you're a veteran. It's, you know, all these flags out here, it just represents our freedom.
Cody McNeely served our country for several years. Last year, he became a veteran, so this year he was able to volunteer full-time for the Warriors Weekend Field of Honor. These flags were very symbolic to him, and they represent why it was so important to fight for our freedom.
Every single one of these flags represents either someone serving right now, has served, you know, we lost fighting for our freedom. Every single one of these is a person that's, you know, fought for our freedom. So it's amazing.
The flag posting started at 9 a.m. until the field was complete. More than 2,000 flags were posted in the Field of Honor. Carl Snyder, Assistant Scout Master with Troop 364, brought the Boy Scouts out to volunteer, and he had several reasons why this was important.
For the boys, it benefits them to be able to meet some of the defenders who secured their freedoms over and over again. For another reason, our community no longer knows what a young man is. They see boys, and that's not okay. I can't change that perception, but what I can do is help those boys step up to be young men, and then our community gets to see young men in action.
The Warriors Field of Honor has scheduled a prayer service every day of the week. It will start at 8 p.m. until 9 p.m. on the field and is open to everyone in the Crossroads. On Friday, May 10th at 7 p.m., John Walden, the Purple Heart recipient, will be speaking at the Field of Honor dedication. In Victoria, I'm LaShonda McEwen with your hometown news.
And if you would like to show your support, you can meet the Warriors when they arrive on Friday, May 17th at 2 p.m. or you can line up on Navarro and wave as they drive to see the Field of Honor. Last night was election night. We have unofficial results to share with you. Raleigh McCoy won the mayoral election with 51% of the votes. Coming in behind McCoy was Vic Morgan with 25% of the vote. Morgan is followed by Brent Carter with 17%. And lastly, we have Steve Meacham with 6%. Vic Morgan spoke to us last night about the defeat and how he feels about the new mayor-elect.
We've had a lot of great support. I'm deeply grateful to the people who have supported us. And I want to wish Raleigh McCoy the best as he serves as the mayor of Victoria.
And moving on now to the Victoria City Council Precinct 5, Andrew Young won with 60% of the vote. Justin Urbano following behind with 40%. And for Precinct 6 election, Mark Lofgren, the winner with 63% of the votes, and Zach Smith is behind with 37%. For VIC Super District 7, Mike Mercer won with 65% of the vote, followed by Henry Wood with 26% and David Steves with 9%. For the rest of the details on the election results, head on over to crossroadstoday.com. And now it's time to talk weather on this Sunday night, possibly a stormy week ahead of us. Let's check in with our chief meteorologist, Bill Alexander, to see what the rest of the week will look like. Bill?
Well, it's going to start off pretty nice. Today was a beautiful day, partly cloudy skies. This evening, no different. We got that little light southeasterly wind, 8 to 14 miles an hour out there, and that's holding temperatures into the 70s right now under fair to partly cloudy conditions. And DTAR Doppler showing a little bit of false echo, but no real genuine precipitation out there, at least not locally. What we will be seeing, though, is temperatures dropping on into the upper 60s before rising well into the 80s again tomorrow. What about your rain chances, though? Well, as we were talking about, there could be some heavy rain out there this week. We'll give you the details later in your hometown forecast. Abby?
Thank you, Bill. Taking you across Texas now, a 10-year-old boy was shot to death after his 12-year-old sibling allegedly got access to a gun and shot the child in the chest. Authorities said on Sunday the fatal shooting occurred on Saturday afternoon at a rural property in Conroe, about 50 miles south of Houston. And according to the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, the 12-year-old sibling has been charged with murder and is currently in custody in the Montgomery County Juvenile Detention Facility. An Amber Alert has been issued for a 5-year-old girl after her stepfather claims she was abducted by 3 men. Houston police say the men who have may have little Malia Davis could be driving a blue Chevy pickup. Malia's stepfather, Darian Vince, told police he was driving with Malia and her 2-year-old half-brother when he pulled off the road to check what he thought was a flat tire. That's when he says the pickup pulled up behind him. And according to Vince, this is what happens next.
Two Hispanic males get out. One of them makes a comment saying that Malia looks very nice, looks very sweet. The other male hits Darian in the head. Darian loses consciousness.
Now, the stepfather claims he and the 2-year-old were let go on Saturday evening. Vince says he walked to a hospital for treatment. That's when he reported Malia missing. Police are also looking for the 2011 silver Nissan Altima that the stepfather said he was driving when the alleged abduction happened. And now taking you across the world, a Russian passenger jet landed in flames in Moscow on Sunday, and Russian officials say at least 13 people are dead, including 2 children. Russian media said in addition to the dead, at least 6 people were injured. The airport said the crew announced a malfunction and it returned to the airport northwest of Moscow, making a hard landing and bursting into flames. Firefighters responded to the emergency, and Russian media reported there were 78 passengers on board. Across the nation, a police officer was shot and killed during a routine traffic stop in Mooresville, North Carolina. The 32-year-old was transported from the scene and later died from his injuries. The suspect in the shooting fled the scene after firing his weapon, and he was later located in a nearby apartment. Once police entered the residence, officials said that the suspect was confirmed dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. 4 people were injured after they were shot in downtown Indianapolis. It happened just before 11:30 Saturday night, and officials say the victims are 3 teens and 1 adult. All of the victims are going to be okay, and as of now, police do not have a suspect in custody nor a cause for that shooting.
People who are going to continue doing this activity, we're going to stay on you. We were here, police officers were right here on the scene when this happened. We can't be holding everybody's hand.
Now, the investigation into that incident is ongoing. In San Francisco, officials say a bus carrying the Aeolans Choir from Oakwood University when it got involved in an accident with 4 other vehicles. The bus then caught on fire, and at least 19 people were evaluated at the scene but refused treatment. Fire officials believe most of the victims were part of the tour bus, and an investigation into that crash is underway. 2 people were killed in a fire at a multifamily home this morning in Connecticut. Firefighters found a fire ripping through this New Haven home. Officials say 16 people were inside the 3-story building at the time of the fire. Several had to be rescued. Multiple people were also injured, including 3 firefighters. The cause of that fire is under investigation. Lightning is suspected of starting a huge fire at a school in Lillington, North Carolina on Saturday night. The fire spread quickly through the Old Boone Trail Elementary School. Officials believe that lightning from severe storms caused that fire. There are no reports of any injuries, and officials say the building was empty and that it hadn't been used as a school for several years. Now, in North Carolina on Sunday, the family and friends of Riley Howell celebrated his life and mourned his loss. Howell died last week when a gunman opened fire at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Investigators called Howell a hero, saying he tackled the gunman and saved lives. Howell, who was a 21-year-old ROTC cadet, was remembered with military honors.
From now on, when the sun shines warm and gently on my face, I will know that it's you holding me in spirit, just as you did in our life.
Howell was one of 2 people killed in last week's shootings. 4 others were hurt. A stretch of road in Los Angeles that used to be known as Rodeo Road now has a different name. In a street festival and ceremony, the new name was revealed: Obama Boulevard. It intersects with Martin Luther King Boulevard, which is where a day-long festival and the eventual unveiling of the street name took place. It's hoped that the name change will help revitalize the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw neighborhood and honor the 44th president. Stay with us. Coming up on News Center 25 at 10, the presidential campaign is heating up, and we'll check in on the Biden campaign right after the break.
And we're going to be looking at temperatures dropping on into the 60s during the early morning hours, but then rising nicely during the day tomorrow. We do have some increasing opportunities for rain, and it's going to be significantly increasing by, say, late Tuesday or so. We'll give you all the ideas that you need to know later in your hometown forecast.
Welcome back now to the 2020 race that's heating up. Democratic presidential candidates out in force this weekend, targeting key primary states and taking aim at President Trump. ABC's White House correspondent Tara Palmieri is on the North Lawn with the story. All right, sheriff's deputies in Florida were in for a surprise when a man wearing a Speedo offered to show them his marijuana plant. Yes, the whole thing was caught on body cam. The deputies were responding to an unrelated call when another resident waved them over to talk about his marijuana. Deputies say 65-year-old Arthur Caracino was smoking marijuana at the time. He then walked over to show them the 2-foot-tall marijuana plant growing on his property. When deputies asked Caracino if he had a marijuana card, he told them he's working on it. He's obviously working on it.
Who wears a Speedo, though?
Speedo? Speedo.
Oh, I just have
Yeah,
so
you can
many
understand
questions.
the marijuana. The Speedo?
Yeah.
No, that's no.
No.
Stay away from drugs, kids.
Yes, don't ever do that.
Yeah, because Speedo.
Yeah.
No. It might be a relationship there, you know.
Maybe. There might be.
Under the influence there.
Yeah. Well, our weather this week.
Speaking about under the influence, we're going to be under an influence of moisture and instability this week. It'll start off slowly, and then we'll have some scattered showers and a few thunderstorms tomorrow, a little bit more of that Tuesday, and then really ramping up Tuesday night as that outflow boundary moves on down. You know, without this time of the year, you don't have much in the way of cold fronts, but you do have these boundaries coming out from preceding thunderstorms, and that's what forms the potential to produce even more storms, and we'll see that more and more as the week progresses.
Will it be raining hard, or
it will be hardly raining at first and then raining hard later.
I'm not trying to be out there in no boots and be like, hi guys, it's pretty loud.
Yeah,
I'll be
Get our
inside.
rain gear ready.
I'll be inside talking to you.
Yeah, oh, thank you, though.
It was fun being in the studio, though.
Yeah,
You guys
yeah,
out there
it's so
in the
nice
field.
having you this weekend. Well, for more sports news and weather, visit crossroadstoday.com.